Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most grateful and prayerful pranams at the divine lotus feet of my beloved Swami, dear sisters and brothers. First and foremost, please excuse me for my attire. But when you're invited for a weekend retreat, the white dress is very precious. So I've kept it for tomorrow and the day after, and the day after. So, I would like to first of all thank the wonderful hosts, Brother Ramesh and his beloved wife, for hosting us. I know this was last minute. Somehow it was assumed that we had made arrangements to stay, but we hadn't. So I'm very, very grateful to both of you for inviting and accommodating Maya and me for tonight. This is such a wonderful, I think it is a Swami's gift to us for giving us a chance to visit this place. I've heard of Brother Ramesh for a very, very long time. I know you all call him Uncle Ramesh, but he doesn't look that old. So I'll stick to Brother Ramesh. This is more like an ashram. It is an ashram, a place of retreat, a place of peace and energy. And every step and every inch of this house is, at least I feel, the divine energy of Sai in it. And so you're wonderfully blessed to be able to come here to the center as often as you all do, every week, I believe, every Sunday. And for Maya and I think it's a great privilege and pleasure that we got a chance to visit and be part of this wonderful energy. And so thank you for that. I also want to thank Shelton for picking us up for this phenomenal driving that he does. No pun intended. He was very patient. And he restrained himself from texting on the phone. That is good. Thank you. So if any of you are concerned about him, you'll be safe. No, he's good. He's very good. Well, since this is, I was told it's an informal satsang, and I want it to be informal satsang. Satsangs are always informal. To me, the idea of satsanga, sat is truth, and sangha is when you get together to discover, to study, to know more about this truth, Sat, which is a short form for Satya, the name of our beloved Master and Guru. So, I would like to keep it free. Maybe we could start with some Q&A or just see how the energy guides us. So, feel free if you want to share a comment or ask something, and then I will brave enough to try and answer if I can, anything about Swami. For those of you who don't know my background, I studied in Baba's college for a very long time. I joined in 1979 when Baba started his college in Puttaparthi, and ended up staying there for 15 years in the ashram. When I joined, I had no clue, I had no idea how long I would be there. I went there because circumstances somehow forced me to go there in one sense of the term. But now when I look back, as I look back in everything in my life, and I begin to understand and realize and believe that there is a divine orchestration, there's never a coincidence or never a chance incident. And that orchestration ultimately is your own divinity orchestrating this whole thing. But while that is at the highest level, even at lower levels, you find peace in understanding that all of this has a meaning and a higher purpose, and wherever we are in life. And so, but at that point, I didn't know. I went to Puttaparthi because the education was free. My father was transferred from Bombay to Haryana, and he didn't have a place to put me in Haryana. It was an odd distance from Delhi, so I couldn't go there. I was in Bombay, and those days there weren't many colleges which had the residential facilities as well, and if they were very expensive. There was one Swami Vivekananda college in Chennai, but you had to get very high percentage marks to get in there, and I was nowhere close to that, being that intellectual. just an average Joe, if you will. So Baba's college came as a blessing because it was free education. So I went there to study. I saw Baba. I was curious about Baba. Curiosity led way to admiration. Admiration led way to devotion. Devotion opened the doors to love, and finally surrender and acceptance. When exactly this happened, I don't know. Those 15 years. How it happened, I don't know, but it just happened. Very subtly, very powerfully, and never had to look back. So all I can, every time I look at Swami's picture, I know my heart fills with gratitude. And I'm ever so grateful to have been the recipient of innumerable experiences, innumerable occasions where I not only saw his divinity but also his love in action. And I got to know and understand and get a first-hand feel of what it is that an avatar does in his 24-hour schedule when he has a mission to fulfill on earth. And it's just fascinated me. That's what motivated me to stay there for 15 years. And so on and so forth. So it's very dangerous to give me a mic and say start speaking about Baba, because I could keep you up here all night. So I want you all to start, any of you, anything that might be, that you might have wondered in the back of your mind. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to be, we shouldn't be afraid to examine Swami. I think that is what he said, come examine, experience and understand. And at the end of this evening or at the end of this weekend, if you all are coming for the retreat, I'm not sure how many of you are coming, but the idea here is not for me to convince you about my experiences. It's not here, I'm not here to convince you, I'm never here to convince anybody about Sai Baba's divinity. I'm simply here to share my experiences. I'm here to share my faith, my inspiration, how this path to divinity opened for me. And I guess in each one of our hearts, we are all searching for that answer. That's why we are here tonight. That's why we go to temples. That's why we are there for satsang. That's why we put on a YouTube channel or somewhere and try to listen to somebody and search. What are we searching for? That lost identity of going within. Everybody says God is within. But then what does that really mean? Where? Is he up here, in my heart, in my stomach? Where is he? And so, who is this he? Who am I then? And so that search has to be so personal and so individual that my story can never be your story, my faith can never be your faith. But in a satsang, we draw from each other's inspiration. We know that we are not the only one in this path, not the only crazy guy alone on the road. Oh my God, there are so many crazy people, so good. I'm good, I'm in good company. And that encourages you to continue that search. But the final finding of that God within, of divinity within, I think is done in solitude, in the aloneness. And that's why even Adi Shankara sang, he said, Satsangatve Nitsangatve. From satsanga, from company, go into meditation, go into silence. Nitsanga, break away from that company. The very company that spurred you on, at one point you will have to break away. It doesn't mean you stop coming from the center. So break away for the next other 5 days of the week or 6 days of the week. In other words, take the energy and go into yourself rather than dissipating it in mindless conversations or social networking. We begin to use Sai Baba then as a means to socialize. We begin to use his satsang as a means, hey, how are you? Not seen you for a long time, blah, 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 blah. So, satsang gatve nitsangatvam, you go within. Nitsangatve nirmohatvam. And in that silence, your delusion will slowly begin to clear. And then nischalatatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, you become steady. And in that nischalatatvam jivan mukti, in that steadiness, you will find the ultimate answer. So the answer is within us. Even if we cling to Swami's feet, sit in front of Swami's picture, ultimately You have to go within. And he will guide you. That's what gurus are for. That's why he's a Sadguru. He's not an ordinary guru. He didn't come here to make himself another god that you would worship. We have 330 million gods already. Do you know that? Gods and goddesses. All those old poets and poets, if you read, I'm talking when I say old, at least 1500 years, 2000 years old, they write 330 million gods and goddesses we have already. We don't want one more god to add to the picture. One more Ashtotram to sing on one more day of the week to find out, oh my god, now which day does Baba get pleased? But Shiva has taken Monday, Devi's taken Tuesday, Wednesday I still don't know what it is. Thursday Guru has taken, so maybe Guru will fit in Baba along with other deities. He didn't come for us to do that. He came here to, this is my core belief and I'm sharing this with you. He came here to set a role model. He came here to tell you that this idea of God is true. Not God has descended from above. That's a whole theory. We are trying to understand what that even means. But God as a man, where each one of us can turn around and say, I am God, I'm not different from God. I am the Akhanda Parabrahman. I am Satchidananda. Grief and anxiety can never affect me. I'm ever content. Fear can never enter me. That was the message Baba gave us 1983 November. That was what he wanted us to chant. And only a true Guru can give you that. The others will be happy if you keep praising them. And say, yeah, praise me more. This Guru said, yeah, you praise me, but I am only a reflection. Because at one point I said curiosity led to admiration, admiration led to devotion. Somewhere in the middle of that, I was fanatically attached to Baba's physical form. I wanted him to talk to me every day. I wanted him to sign pictures. I wanted to take pictures of him. He encouraged me initially, drew me completely into his fold. And then he said, what are you searching for? Swami, I want you. Take me. He would say, take me. But he's right in front of me. I don't know what does that mean. Take me. Where do I take him? So I just stared at him. He said, I'm your reflection. I'm your resound. I'm your reaction. The real me is there within you. This is only reaction. This will stay here, won't be there tomorrow. So that is, to me, the most powerful turning points in my spirituality. And I think that's where Baba wants us to go. That what we worship, the forms, names and forms of God. Choose any name, any form. It doesn't matter, he says. Choose any religion, any faith. Doesn't matter. Why? Because they're all just reflections of the divinity that you're perceiving within you. And therefore, when you want to really see the real God, you ultimately have to go within. And that is the path Baba opens up. And when that opens, it's magnificently, the life becomes so beautiful. I mean, then Baba guides you every step of the way. He holds your hand. And every single experience in your everyday life becomes a miracle, becomes meaningful. Whether you lose something, whether you gain something, everything becomes an aha moment. And then you feel that this is it. Every day of my life suddenly becomes divine. And therefore you too sing along with Baba, love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food. So, yes, please. Don't feel shy to ask.
No,
yes.
So I'm going first.
Good.
I have two questions, if I may ask on behalf of everyone. So some of us are not, unfortunately, going to make it to the silent retreat. So I know you're going to speak a lot about meditation.
I'll be the only one speaking at the silent retreat.
That's why we wanted a gist of what you're going to do. But in the same line of thought, my question is, being silent, for me, I'm asking as an individual perspective, when you're doing meditation, you are basically facing with one's own self, right? And that's the most frightening moment of existence. When you're by yourself and you have to face your inadequacies or your talents or whatever it is, good or bad. So what are the three main obstacles in meditation? That I know there are many obstacles, but the three main obstacles that you feel that need to be worked on before we get into rigorous meditation. My second question is the direct opposite of that question. We all live in a world of Dvaita and Advaita. So, in that light, how does collective prayer, collective singing, help in the journey of our sadhana? And how does our individual prayer add to that and bring us closer to Swami?
It's always a mistake asking people to ask questions. I should have just kept going. I can hear Swami saying, "Cheppani kada niku." All right.
Maya is already giving me the look.
Well, let me try and address your second question. You said we are living in the world of Advaita and Advaita and Dvaita. Advaita is non-dualism and Dvaita is dualism. We are not living in the world of Advaita and Dvaita. We are living in a world of Advaita. It's pure non-dualistic, but we're perceiving it as Dvaita. We're perceiving it as dual. That's the whole problem. There is one, but we are perceiving it as a many. And how is collective prayer will help that? That's why the satsang is just a beginning point. Satsangatvam is the beginning to just gather the energy to go within. Nitsangatve. You go within and enter into that aloneness. So I don't see it as two opposing forces. I see one as building up and guiding you to the next step. So collective prayer, because ultimately what happens is you come back to collective prayer. Why? Because then you realize there isn't any two people praying, it's just one person, and there isn't nobody praying to whom. So it finally becomes a play of consciousness. And you begin to enjoy it as God and His devotee, both. So there isn't two. I know this might sound abstract, but it is the fundamental truth. As long as we don't take that as a basis, we get nowhere. There is really no two. There is only one. And Baba writes in his Gita Vani that is the cause of all grief. The cause of all anxiety and grief is because we believe there is more than one. The oneness is the answer. Now you might wonder how. You see, in yoga what we do is when you breathe, there is a rhythm. You inhale, you exhale, you breathe in, you breathe out. Now as you go deep into that breath, you begin to understand that this rhythm is part of bigger rhythms of the universe. And you sync in your rhythm with the universal rhythms. The ebb and flow of waves is also a rhythm. The day and night cycle is also a rhythm. The seasons come and go in a rhythm. The earth rotates in a rhythm. Planets rotate around the sun in the rhythm. Stars are born and die, it's in a rhythm. Everything is inhaling, everything is exhaling. And your breath is a minuscule representation of that large reality. You inhale into matter. In other words, when you inhale, you become something or somebody. When you exhale, you go back into a state of energy, being. So becoming and being and becoming, being and becoming. That is the ultimate truth of the universe. Where the dancer and his dance is one. So you are the dancer and you are the dance itself. You know, the statue of Nataraja is why is it so mystical? Because in a dancer, you cannot separate the dance from the dancer. That is one art, you cannot separate them both. When the dancer doesn't dance, you can't say, alright, you stop dancing, let me take the dance and go home and watch it later. You can't. I mean, well, nowadays you can take it in the camera, but the dancer is not with you. So, you can't separate the dance from the dancer. Right? You can separate a painting from a painter, because that's a finished product. But a dance, you can't. He stops dancing, the dance stops with him. So in Nataraja's statue, the creation is the dance of Shiva, and therefore this creation is Shiva because he's dancing. So the dance of consciousness, the play of consciousness, the dance of atoms and molecules is the energy in action, the ultimate energy of consciousness in action. If we realize that, then your breath and my breath is not different, two different breaths, it's one breath. It's one consciousness breathing through you, one consciousness breathing through me. One consciousness turning into matter, one is pure, stays at energy. Same consciousness manifests itself as the five elements. The same consciousness draws back into nothing, comes back into everything. So when you begin to experience this, and analyze this, and understand this, and meditate on this, then you go back to that true state of being and becoming. And therefore you don't think that now I'm going to meditate and now I'm out of meditation. When you're acting, when you're cooking, when you're working, that is also, you're very much part of the same consciousness expressing itself. As long as you're aware of that, then that itself becomes meditation. That is my understanding of Baba says, work is worship, duty is God. Do your duty, don't, because that is not somehow materialistic, and when you go to a temple and sit with your eyes closed, somehow that is spiritual. That is all in our delusion, that we classify what is spiritual and what is material, and who is spiritual and who is materialistic, and who is good and who is bad. And all that division is in our heads. It's not delusion. It is the same energy. And so once you understand that, there is really no need to have that conflict. There is no conflict, actually. And that is what you want to take and practice in your meditation. So meditation, I wouldn't say there are obstacles to meditation. I think there are more misconceptions of what meditation is. One major misconception is meditation is somehow a technique. So many people come to me and say, I'm so stressed out, can you please teach me meditation? I tell them, no, I think you need to see a psychiatrist. If you're stressed out, go and see a psychiatrist, take some pills, get over your stress, and then come and see me for meditation. So that's your first misconception. That somehow meditation is a technique. The second thing is somehow meditation is a quick fix and is meant only to quick fix something. That somehow it's a pill to be taken when you're feeling stressed, otherwise it's of no use. I'm happy, I don't need any meditation. I'm quite peaceful, I don't need any meditation. When I'm stressed, I'll think about it. So that's a whole different misconception. You think it's like medicine. How many of us take medicines every day? You don't, right? Only when you fall sick, you'll go and open your medicine cabinet and see which ones are not expired, and you make sure. And you take the ones that seem to or promise to work. You take medicines. That's the role of a medicine, but meditation is not medicine. That's a second misconception. So I'll think of the third one, but in the meantime, let me explain these two. And I think this is very important, because the way Baba would explain is, what is meditation? When you're so preoccupied with some thought that you become one with that thought, right? That is meditation. And for us to feel, oh, somehow I'm not into meditation, or I can meditate or cannot meditate, is a misnomer. We all can lose ourselves into something. For example, if you're watching a TV show or a film, or these days a short film on your iPhone or on your Samsung or whatever you want, we are so engrossed for that few minutes. Or you get so engrossed in your TV show that you have a popcorn packet open and you're eating those chips of popcorn, and you suddenly realize you finished it. Your hand is searching for that empty pocket. Wow, it's over already. You didn't even realize you ate so fast. Sometimes your hands are cramped, you don't know, and after a while, oh my God, my hand became numb. I didn't realize. But ask to sit and close your eyes and think of God. You'll say, oh my God, my foot is getting numb. How do you realize that is numb? While when you're watching a movie, you are in the most uncomfortable position, but you are like watching it. You really don't watch like that. But internally, you experience all those emotions. You're one with that actor. You laugh when they laugh. You cry when they cry. You see the tissue papers next to all these ladies who watch these Desperate Housewives. So I don't know what they watch in that. Whatever it is, we are so engrossed. So to say that I cannot get so engrossed is a misnomer. We all can. We can read a book and get completely immersed in the book, and you can spend half a night and realize, oh my gosh, I had to go to sleep. I didn't realize this book was so gripping. So what is so gripping is that interest in that topic. It is the interest in that topic. If there is gossip on TV, the mother and daughter-in-law, or the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law story, or whatever that goes on and on and on and on, for every 5 minutes there's just one face is shown on the TV. I could never watch that. I asked my mother, why do you watch these things? But anyway, the point is, because you're interested in that, what is going to happen to her? Oh, who's that lady standing behind and watching? Let me watch the next series. So there's a grip there. They hold you on. Or for the guys who watch these suspense 24 hours or whatever that kung fu thing is, oh my God, look at that move he's going to make. That leap is going to take, or whatever it is, it grips you, and then you got engrossed, you get pulled into that, sucked into that story, and now you've built that world. Harry Potter is now around you, you're living that world. That becomes your reality. That's not wrong or right. It just shows that our mind has that power, that potential to grip itself and absorb that energy. And we build that reality around us. That is how we build this whole universe. You and I have built it. Everything around us, we have built it. And that's why when we meditate on these chakras, we realize that we create this reality around us. And we have the power and we have the energy to recreate it, ultimately. Right? So, we do it by our thoughts. The more we lean on what is it that I think most often, those thoughts are going to finally get attracted into my life and they're going to manifest themselves. So Baba says, think about God. He doesn't say, come and, that's why Namasmarana, bhajans, I will come to that singing part in a second. Namasmarana, which is commonly said as bhajans, that is Namasankirtana, is bhajans. Namasmarana is thinking. Namasmarana, contemplate on the name. So what he says is, take away that thought from all those other thoughts that are unnecessarily creating clutter in your mind. Because you're searching for something more serious, but you're searching for it somewhere else. You're creating more clutter. It's like a man who lost a needle in the house. You heard that thing? He lost a needle in the house, and because there was no light in the house, what did he do? He went to the street lamp and he was searching there. Somebody asked him, what are you doing here? He says, I lost a needle, I'm searching for it. He said, where did you lose it? I lost it in my house. Why are you searching for it here? He said, no, but here there is light. I can look for it better here. But you lost it in the house. But that's what we do. It sounds funny, but that's exactly what we're doing. We have lost something. We're searching for it, but we're searching for it outside. So Baba says even that ananda that you look for in that third helping of the cake, two are allowed. I just frown at the third helping. The third helping of the ananda that you experience for listening to the extra bit of sound or where the senses are driving you. That ananda is also part of Brahmananda. Baba says that is also Brahmananda. That is the same ananda that is experiencing, but that ananda is limited. That ananda is limited, and therefore it's like banging your head against a brick wall. You're going again and again to the same thing, hoping it will find an answer, but we're not going to get an answer there. And so, getting a taste, the senses give you a taste of what the real ananda is. Now once you get the taste, what do you do when you watch a trailer of a movie? You go and actually watch a movie, you don't keep watching the trailer again and again. It sounds foolishness. But that's what we do. The senses give you a trailer of what true happiness and what the source of ananda truly is, which is your mind, and go beyond the mind. But instead of going there, we keep going back to the trailer. Going back to what we like and develop likes and dislikes and raga and dvesha and attachment and hatred, and we're caught up with all this. And before we realize, one life is over and the next starts again, and then we get caught up in that same routine. So Baba says even that is ananda, but that's not Brahmananda. That's a small sample. True Brahmananda is going within. So that is what we need to go. And so when we develop a taste for Namasmarana, replace these thoughts with thoughts of God. In other words, now what you do, you develop a relationship with this abstract concept called God. You have to develop a relationship. You have to develop a story. Why do you have to? Because that's what we believe in. We believe in a world of relationships. For us, love means there should be somebody else to love to. If we just say love is an abstract thing, then we won't understand what it is. We need somebody to love, then we understand what love is. When we see two puppies playing with each other, we say, oh my God, they love each other so much. Why? Because there are two of them. So we created two and then merge it in one. So in Vedas, and Swami has used this many, many times in his discourses and his teachings, he says the spiritual path has 4 stages. One is Salokya. Salokya. That means you enter this divine portal of Godhead. In other words, faith, belief in God, concept, the world of God. In other words, the idea that God exists, or there is something called God, something is divine, Baba is divine, Baba is my Sadguru, he's going to take me somewhere. That faith, the world of faith, Salokya, Loka, that environment you enter first. And once you enter Salokya, then comes Sarupya. Then you develop a name and a form in that. Which is the God what is the God I think of? I think of this Shiva, I think of Vishnu, I think of Brahma, I think of Jesus, I think of Allah, the formless. Whatever, even the formless is one idea of a form in your head. It's just the opposite of the other. So we develop an idea of what that God is. So that becomes Sarupya. And then the next stage is Samipya. You get closer to that ideal you have created. You created that ideal. Now you get closer to that ideal you have created. Samipya, get closer. How do you get closer? Develop a relationship. He's my mother, he's my father, or he's my friend. We sing songs, we fall in love, we say, Swami, why are you testing me? Don't test me. All this, we build a relationship, we build talking. He comes here, he blesses you, he showers vibhuti everywhere, he eats your prasad. So the divinity is attracted, you're attracting the divinity. And then comes Sayujya, where you begin to understand that this is but my own reflection. And then there comes a merger, the ultimate realization that you and God are one. So, Salukya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Sayujya. That's the stage where we guide each other, where we guide building a relationship. That is why we need a crutch. We need Baba. We need a form. We need a guru to hold our hands and say, we love you. We surrender to you completely. You are my ideal. You are my role model. You are everything to me. And that's why Baba would say, choose one name, any name. Choose one name, one form. Don't go like monkeys choosing. Though he says sing, let us not get confused between Baba says sing all names and forms versus choose one name and form. The idea is when you really close your eyes, it should be just one guru. For me, it's just Swami. I really don't need, not that I'm against anything, but you understand where I'm coming from. I really don't need, I found my path through him. And that form is enough for me. That form has taken me to that and shown me the path to the formless. Shown me that path to that oneness, and that's enough for me. So all of us have to find what is that form that is most endearing to our heart. And it could be the form of Krishna. You don't have to feel guilty. How come I'm going to Sai Baba, but I love Krishna? I hope he doesn't mind. All these things don't work in Baba's, because the difference is in your heart, not in his heart. In him, there is really, really no difference. How many times has he proved to each one of us in our own way? And there are so many stories where you pray to some form and he acknowledges it. When my eldest sister was not conceiving for 11, 12 years after her marriage, and I was, my first interview, Swami kept asking me, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? I said, I don't want anything from Baba, I don't want anything Baba. Because I never thought I should ask him anything. I never felt I need to ask him anything personal. The last thing on my mind was to ask about my sister. What do I say? Baba, my sister is not having a baby. I mean, I was a young guy. I was like, that's not me. Let her come and ask if she wants. I'm not going to make such silly requests. But my mother kept writing to me, ask him, please, ask him, please, ask him. And so in that moment when he cornered me and he said, what do you want? Tell me what do you want. Tell me. He tried Telugu, he tried Hindi. Kya manta hai? Bolo, bolo. He probably thought I didn't understand. I don't know. It was the first encounter, close encounter with Baba, was just few inches away from me. And then my mother's letters came to my mind. I just said, Swami, my mother, your mother, all the time, Muruga, Muruga, you, Muruga, Muruga. Well, for those of you who don't know, Muruga is the son of Shiva. We sing Subramanya bhajans. In Tamilians call him Muruga. So that's what my mother's chosen ideal was from a very young age. Like, she was very fond of Muruga. She was all the time praying to him. Till the very last day of her life, she kept praying only to Muruga. And of course, they all came to Swami and completely accepted Swami. But still, the chosen deity was Muruga. But here's an example of, he immediately said, oh, your mother? Oh, Ayyo Muruga, Ayyo Muruga. Because that's exactly how she would say it. Repeated exactly the way she would do it, you know. And then when I told my mother, she was shocked. She said, how did he know I would say Muruga? I said, not just Muruga. She said, Ayyo Muruga. So, by the way, somebody said the word Ayyo is an Oxford dictionary now. So, yes. Oh my God. Alright. Some Tamilians really keep in track. But Ayyo is simply a sign of exasperation. Anyway. But check the Oxford dictionary, I could be wrong. So Baba acknowledged Ayyo Muruga. How did he do that? Because in his consciousness there was no difference. And therefore, whatever form we choose, we draw that energy close to us. And then we merge and realize our own divinity. That's the beauty. Now you might find all this is now, but then what happens to our willpower versus divine power and all that questions will come before somebody. Some of you ask that. I know some questions are coming up. But I'll tell you how Baba explained, when you live with Baba, when you listen to his discourses, and when you are also searching for answers, he provides it beautifully and they stay with you. And some of these lessons which I have learned stayed with me throughout. And in my mind there is no doubts at all. I stopped asking questions for a while now. I simply know that homework is just to meditate, just to be. Breathe and allow your breath to become one with the cosmic rhythms and enjoy that expansion. In that expansion, you include everyone, everything, and then realize there is really no other than you. Baba said Hanuman was a great devotee, but he was also an embodiment of Advaita. So how did that happen? What Advaita is like non-duality. Where does Hanuman fit in? You see how devotion and non-dualism can actually be one. And only some Sadguru like Baba can give you that perception. I want you to remember some of these lessons home, because these are very powerful lessons that will help you understand this in more depth. I don't know if this is the original Ramayana. I don't know what is original anymore, because once Baba tells me that is original for me, can't get more original than that. But Baba quotes this anecdote where he says Vibhishana accosted Hanuman. And he said, Hanuman, how come you are such a close devotee of Rama? I have also been chanting Rama's name. I have been such a great devotee of Rama. But you seem to have just made a shortcut. Straight away you went right to him, and you're so close to him. What is your relation with Rama? Can you tell me what is the secret? And so Hanuman tells him, when I identify myself with my body, Hanuman says, when I identify myself with my body, I am a servant. Rama is my master. My job is to serve him. When I identify myself with my mind, then I am a devotee. He is my Lord. I love him and he blesses me. When I identify myself with my Atma, then he and I are one. I found this to be such a powerful thing, that do we have our own willpower, or are we subject to our divine will? Depending on what are you identifying yourself with. If I am identifying myself with my body, if I am Sundar, yes, I am under the planetary influences. Vedic astrology, divine grace, unexpected experiences in life, all of that affect the Sundar complex, the ego that is carrying itself as Sundar, right? But when you identify yourself, when you close your eyes and you meditate, and in your sadhana you begin to identify yourself with the Supreme, that you and Sai are one, then all these influences they'll only affect the Sundar part of you, not the real you. And Baba gave this as an example. Baba's body itself went through injury and death. The body, Ramana Maharishi had throat cancer, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had throat cancer, but the real divinity within them was unaffected, untouched. Who can ever say, after visiting wonderful places like this, that Baba has gone somewhere? He hasn't gone anywhere. He's very much here. So, where do you identify yourself with? As long as you and I identify ourselves with this idea of I am Sundar, then I am subject to all this. But when I begin to identify myself that I am much more than Sundar, and that is where the search begins. Then who am I? And that is where Adi Shankara says, Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham nacha shrota dikve nacha grana netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am not the petty mind, I am not the proud intellect, neither the mighty ego nor the minute thought am I. Touch and hearing, taste and seeing, I am not these sensual feelings. I am not the element of earth, I am not the elusive ether, neither the fierce fire nor the wailing wind am I. I am truth, consciousness, divine bliss. I am the Shiva. Shiva am I. I am the Shiva am I. So, this is, to me, Baba's mission on earth was to awaken us to this reality. If we miss this point, make him one more God and decide how to worship him, and then fight for who has to sing what bhajan. No, I am singing bhajan. I can't let go of this mic. I'll come to that bhajan singing a little bit. Give me 2 minutes for that. Let me finish this thought here. But if we get caught in the little nuances of making and coming up with newer forms of worshipping one more God, we're missing the whole point. We could develop that, but we got to be aware that this is only a stepping stone to leading me to something else. And ask Baba for the highest gift he came to give. That's why he said, I have come to give you, I give you what you want, so that one day you will ask what I have come to give. And that is so, so, so important. One evening I was sitting at Baba's feet, and a friend of mine and I, and it was late night, he had to retire into his bedroom. He was reading letters after letters after letters. And that particular evening he decided not to talk to anyone. He was completely in his own, how can I say this, for the lack of any other word, in a state of melancholical mood, kind of withdrawn inside, kind of sad, appeared to be, at least. He read these letters, and then he started muttering to himself. He said, how many letters I have read today? Yemo, whatever. And Baba said, whatever. Yemo. Somebody wants marriage. Somebody who's married has marriage problems. Somebody wants kids. Somebody who has kids problems. Somebody wants this. Somebody wants that. Everybody wants something. Wants. I've not got one letter today which said thank you. How come nobody thanks me? And he got up. He's muttering to himself. And we could barely catch what he was saying. And he walked towards his bedroom, almost like, okay, time to go to bed, kind of a thing. And he walked. And then we would normally take namaskar, so he just paused, but he didn't even look at us. And we were touching his feet and getting up. He was saying, anyway, my plane has landed. I'm standing in the plane and saying, come into my plane. All you people are doing aartis and pujas and bhajans. Nobody comes into my plane. Projectlu chestunaru, bhajanlu chestunaru, pujalu chestunaru. That's exactly what he said. They're doing projects and bhajans and pujas. Nobody's coming into my plane. When my plane takes off, I won't even have 5 people. And he went inside and shut the door. To me, I keep that episode every day. I think of it every day, many times in a day, as to what is it that Baba came to give us? What is it that he is giving us? The highest wisdom. When he says, get into my plane, it's almost like the plane descended to take us back to where he was. But now that he came out of the plane, we are the experts in creating this one more God. Oh, one more avatar. Yay! Let's attack him. And then we'll wait for the second coming. Already people asking me, when is Prema Sai coming? I'm like, you got enough homework from Sunday Sai. You want Prema Sai also to come. What are we searching for this? One after the other. Why? Let him take care of Prema Sai. Let him, whatever, when Jesus said, I'll come after 3 days, nobody still understands what he meant. The second coming of Christ, nobody understands. The 10th coming of Vishnu, nobody has understood. So let Baba deal with that. Right now, what has he given us to realize our own divinity? Maybe once Baba said, Yentra Prema Sai, in your heart you develop love, each one of you will be a Prema Sai. Maybe that's what he wants us to do. Maybe after he leaves, he wants each one of us to become a Prema Sai. Who knows what the real meaning is? But we constantly look, one God is gone now, who's the next God? So Sai Baba is gone, he's gone now, who's my other guru? So let's search for one more. So we are constantly searching outside without realizing that nobody on the outside is ever going to take us there. And Baba said, my plane has landed, I'm taking you back in that plane. What he meant is, come with me to that highest level of consciousness, and then you'll realize what a greatest gift this is. That is the gift we need to give ourselves. We need to give our children. That is the gift our children look up to when they think their parents are spiritual. This is what they are also looking up to. Where is that role model we are setting up? If we say, we are taking our children to Bal Vikat, we are taking them to Chinmaya class, we are taking them everywhere, no improvement these days, it's all blame it on TV, modern games and video games. No, you can't blame anyone. Very simple. Everyone is looking for the role model. I was looking for a role model. I got my role model in Baba. I saw him 100% thought, word and deed, completely immersed in pure divine consciousness. I don't know how else to explain to you. I can't, because you wouldn't understand it. You have to be there to see a master in action. 24 hours, 7 days a week, completely in that consciousness to give. There is no other logical way to explain how an 8th grade student dropped out of a school, not from Oxford or Harvard. I've heard other very intelligent people being dropped out of Harvard, but that's a different topic. grade kid dropped out of school in a village, 14-year-old, deciding to change the world. This sounds like fantasy, right? But this has happened right now in your day and my day. And this is from a village which was not even on the map of India. You know, all of us here, if not all, most of us here would know what an Indian village is like. And in 1940s, if that village was in India, and unknown on the map, how bad would that village be? What kind of facilities would that village had? What kind of schooling that village would have had? And one little boy saying, I've come to fulfill a mission on earth. No wonder people thought he was possessed. They took him to an exorcist and tried to change him. And that little child didn't change his mind. He kept on that one mission. And became his obsession, became his mission on earth. And look at what that one divine, the child who was established in divine consciousness, what he achieved. That is a role model. I like to see Baba as a human being, and it fascinates me. How can one human being do this? Now, if he was the son of a very, very rich man, we could have said, of course, give me a rich father like that, I'll also change the world. If he was, again, a graduate from Ahmedabad, IIM, or some big university, and then came out and said, all right, I have a project plan. Let's clean up the environment, let's change, drop a big project, collect funds. We would have appreciated what he did, but we would have said, yeah, with that kind of degree, even I can do. Why? Because in our mind, to be successful, we have a big list of what needs to make us successful. What is it? Oh, I need money to be successful. Or I need to look like this or like that to be successful. I need to have this background to be successful. Oh my God, but I need to know English to be successful. I need to know English with this particular accent to be successful. I need to have a skin color to be this to be successful here, but otherwise, you know how it is. It's very difficult. I'm struggling. So we have so many excuses why we are not succeeded or why we are not where we want to be in life. We have the excuses. We can write more. It's an what do you call a list that never get exhausted. What is the term for that? Inexhaustible list. All right. So, I can go on writing. The black hole, literally. You're right. The ifs and the buts that rule our lives are phenomenal. But then comes a teacher who tells you that give me nothing and I'll build everything. What greater role model you want? You want proof of concept? Look at him. 8th grade pass. You know English? No. You are a son of a rich man? No. Where are you? In some God-forsaken village. You know, talk of location. How much of us we talk of location? We look for the ideal place. People should come. There should be roads. There should be airports. Otherwise, who's going to come to your business? This and that. So we build our own conditions. We build our limitations, and we complicate things. And Baba said he started a place in Puttaparthi when there were no roads. The river would flood. People couldn't even go across the river to see him. Now, you would say, if you're going to change the world, you might as well go start something in Chennai, Bombay, Delhi, some good place. The ministers are there, prime ministers are there. I am sure Baba would have had older devotees, who had the freedom and the liberty with him, because they treated him as son. Because they thought a young boy going up and down, they drove him to Madras in Chennai, they hosted him. I remember one lady saying, Baba, she told us the story. She used to tell Baba, time for your coffee, enough of satsang, come, go inside, eat coffee. So, they had that freedom. I'm sure they would have told Baba, what is this madness? You're going to start your ashram in Puttaparthi, who's going to come? Come here, we will help you start an ashram. We have contacts with the British. We have contacts here and there, we'll get you done. But look at that, Baba. That is what we need to take home. He went and started in a place which really would not succeed, but look at that today, where it is. In that one lifetime, he transformed that place and made it a world pilgrimage center. So what did he lean on? Take your list and make a list for him and say, what was his secret of success? What was it? Just his belief and his knowing in his divinity. That's all. And that one knowing can change everything, and put all his entire list of 1008 or 108 or 1008 ifs and buts that we have in our lives can completely vanish if you only replace it with one thing: I am God, I am God, I am not different from God. Do I make sense, or am I just talking too abstract? But to me, that is the greatest lesson, because when I was young, I was raised in a traditional Hindu family, like most of us were, very orthodox parents. We had no chances to go to films. I realized when I was young, I saw only 2 movies, if I'm right, maybe 3. One was Hathi Mere Saathi, because there was elephant, and elephant reminded my parents of Ganesh, so they said, okay, we can go for that. And there was another one which, after great difficulty, I pestered my father and mother, and I got to see Sholay. So that was the only 2 movies I remember. But anyway, my point was, we all raised up. So when I heard stories of Krishna being born in a prison, and then his cousins being thrown to a wall, anyway, we won't go into those gross stories, but then those kind of stories, and then heard Rama being sent to the forest, I'm like, how can one succeed with all that? It's just fantasy stories. How can you grow up in a prison and become the god of the earth? I couldn't even buy that. When I went to my Catholic school, St. Xavier's in Villapale, they would say Jesus was born in a manger, he was a son of a carpenter. And I said, how can that son of carpenter become so great? What was that? It's just stories. But then when you look at Baba, it's the same story repeated again for our benefit. Again, I am born in a village. I had nothing. I, in fact, gave up my schooling. Luckily, there are no kids here, so don't worry. They won't drop out of school. But that's the beauty of it. What do I need to carry my mission in life or to be successful? Whatever my goal is, if we ask ourselves and we take a grandiose plan, immediately our logical mind will say, yes, stupid, that's too grand. That's not for you. That's for somebody else to do it. You can't do it. Why? Because you have all the reasons. But then at that time, just stop and say, how did he do it? Without saying, yeah, he is God, he can do it. No, but if he was God, he could do it. Why did he take a human form? To set an example that as a human I can do it, so why can't you do? That's why Baba kept saying, why, if I had come with 4 arms and 3 faces or whatever our gods are, he said, you would have put me in a museum and worshipped me. Nobody would have followed me. I came as a human being, so you can follow me. And I remember, I don't know if you remember this discourse. And he says, don't follow me. I'm not your leader. Don't walk ahead of me. I'm not your follower. Walk with me. Walk with me means do what I did. And that's the beauty. I think our children in SSC and Bal Vikas, or wherever our youngsters, all of them have to realize this is the proof of concept of what we can do to succeed. And that is the story of Baba we need to take to our children. That is the story of Baba we need to tell ourselves every day. How could a simple village boy change the lives of millions of people? And yet I'm struggling with 1 and 2 kids. Or my wife is struggling with me. No, thanks. We are struggling to change 1 person in our life or influence 1 person in our life. And yet Baba could just touch millions of people. I know it's very tempting to say he's God, he can do that. And somehow put him in that state so that we can justify where we are. We do that more as an excuse to justify where we are rather than really go there. Okay, because Baba would say, don't put me in a picture frame. Get me out of the picture frame and into your heart. But you all block me into a picture frame, put a garland and put me up there. See that? So when we come here and watch Vibhuti, when I see Vibhuti, I feel omnipresence. Vibhuti means omnipresent. That means he's omnipresent. That means he's not just there, he's everywhere. That consciousness is everywhere, alive. And if you can carry that faith into you and allow that consciousness to breathe through you, speak through you, live through you, then suddenly you become an instrument without even asking for it. And suddenly the entire universe will flow into you and through you. All the resources come at your disposal. I've experienced this, I continue to experience this because of only one belief. I said, if he can do it, there has to be an answer. That's why he set an example for us to do it. Let's tap the resources of the universe. And if I have to die trying it, let me rather die trying this than succeed in any other lesser sphere of life. I would rather try and fight the lion. You know what I'm saying? So when you start doing that, then you're awakening your inner divinity. And if you see, some of the greatest people in the world are people who really believed in themselves. And to me, I don't have to look at anyone else other than Baba. I mean, it's fascinating that the concept of all the avatars, all the stories suddenly becomes true now. a cowherd like Krishna can become a mighty king, because a young villager like Baba became a world spiritual leader, influencing thousands of miles away. 5 years after he passing away, you and I are sitting and still talking, and I'm sharing the same enthusiasm as if he's right here next to me. How does that happen? How is that magnificent energy still alive? Is because it's true. Divinity is a very true thing. It's not a it's not a fantasy. It's not a pill that you go to when you're sick or when you're tired or when you're confused in life. It's an energy that has to be your very sustenance, like the food that you take, like the air that you breathe. Divinity has to be your sustaining energy. And if that becomes your sustaining energy, I think life becomes beautiful. Every day becomes magnificent. Whether it's up or down, you begin to enjoy the ride. If you like roller coasters, so I have no problem going up and down. To me, that is the important lesson of Baba. Everything else is the magic of being in that divine consciousness. His ability to cure, his ability to be in more than one place, and his ability to tell you what you are in your thoughts, and all that falls in place automatically. But to me, the greatest example is how he set a role model. And we as students, and for Brother Ramesh and people who visited him would see that he let his ashram grow slowly. His mission grew. He worked for it. Every step of the way he worked for it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm willing like this and he did. Something happened magically. He had a vision. He did compromise on his vision. Come what may, he said, no, this has to be done this way. And resources fell in place. But, like I always say this, when he announced in 1991 about the hospital that's going to come up, 1992, that is hospital, 91, that is hospital will come up in 92, in 1 year's time, there was no sign of any hospital. And I was handling the trust at that time. My father was in charge of, was the chief accountant of the trust. Both of us that night, and my father saying, where does Baba get this idea from? Where is the money? There is no money, nowhere close to what Baba is talking about. And yet 1 year later there was a hospital. And in the middle of that, there was once when the blueprint of the hospital was ready and the engineers came from Larsen & Toubro, one of the leading companies in India. They had this blueprint and they show it to Swami. Swami is walking past from somewhere. Here's this 8th grade dropout from village coming down. And he looks at that from a distance and he says, that is only building, I want a temple. And he walks off. And I was like, wow, where does Baba get this? Where does he get that confidence? Where does he get that thing to tell these top engineers of India, not even coming and consulting and seeing what it is, and then, do you think it could be done like this? Because Baba has done that as well. Huh? Very innocently he'll ask. But this was very clear because there was no time for that. No, that's only a building. I want a temple. I want a dome. I want a temple. And that mighty dome that you see in the middle was his vision. So he never compromised on his vision, and he says, do it. I know it will be done. So that sheer willpower coming from the depth of that knowing materialized things into action. It drew people, it pushed these engineers to the limits of their creativity and their knowledge, and they brought it into being. To me, that was fascinating. And he made it happen. But at that time, we saw Swami uncompromising in his vision. Because we could have bold vision, then we begin to compromise on it. Let's be practical. Nah, it's not working out, that must go down. I remind myself every day of that. Why am I compromising? And Baba didn't compromise. Let's hold on to that vision, trust the process, hold on to that vision, and then slowly you garner the universal resources. Begin to help you fulfill that. To me, these are the most powerful lessons of Baba. If I don't share these, I think I'll be doing a disfavor to myself and to Baba. If I tell you he gave me a ring, he gave me a watch, and he gave me a locket, it'll be nice stories to tell you all, but what is it that you take home? Other than the fact that you are lucky. You go home. But to me, this is the stories of avatars. This is a story of God-men. This is a story of masters who walk the earth to show us that yes, it's possible by me. And Baba keeps saying again and again and again, I am God, but you're God too. I know it, you don't know. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. Let me end this thought. with one more. And this will be the kind of the underlying current of my talks at the retreat. So this boy, one day Baba said, if I cut my hand like this and blood flows out, I say stop, go back, it will go back. And so this boy said, oh Swami, of course you can do it. He says, why? He says, Swami, you are God. And you are not? He asked. No, Swami. He said, Dunnapata, there is no difference, even you can do it. But he didn't literally mean that go and try and cut your skin. But what he meant is, even you can do it. The only difference between you and me, he says, you think you're a small speck in this mighty universe. Kada? He asked me, he said, yes, Swami. You think you're a small speck, mighty universe. I think that the mighty universe is a small speck inside of me. The universe is a speck inside of me. And you think you are a speck in the universe. What a change of perception. It's merely a change of perception, but what a difference. So suddenly we found the distance between God and a devotee. Suddenly found that distance. It seemed lifetimes of learning. And yet it was only a perception change. And therefore when you expand in your meditation, you allow your consciousness to expand. You begin to feel the earth around you, everything is part of one consciousness. And suddenly you begin to embrace everyone, everything, until the universe itself becomes contained in your consciousness. Then you begin to appreciate what Baba said, that the universe is a speck inside of me, I am. So the Purusha, the ultimate Purusha, the Shiva, envelops everything. This may be very abstract, but blame Srikant, he is the one who invited me here. Yes. So, it's 9:15. We'll end up with a couple of bhajans, or one bhajan maybe.
One easier question?
Bhajans fit into all this concept.
Yeah.
Sorry?
How bhajans fit into concepts, how bhajans should be done, if you
Oh, okay, real quick. Well, like I said, bhajans are so important because we're talking of this heightened awareness. So when you sing a name of God, now you notice in my singing, I'm not a ghazal singer. I've not learned music. I've just sung bhajans in front of Baba for 15 years. That's how I've learned. I don't claim myself as a singer at all. I can sing bhajans, and yes, I can sing on scale for the most part, at least. And Baba says the reason why it's called singing and not chanting is because it's singing. There is raga here. There is a particular rule to be followed. Why? Because once Baba gave a discourse, let me finish this anecdote. It explains everything. Please take this home. Once Baba gave a discourse, he said, why you have to, don't worry about raga and tala and sing from your heart. Open your heart and sing. God listens only to your feeling. That is how you got to sing. Don't be afraid. Clap your hands and sing. I was very happy because I was struggling with this thing. I was sitting there and this boy would start off one skill and I wouldn't know how to start it and it is just too... And I said, why not just sing? And when Baba spoke, I was like, oh, thank you, Swami. Thank you. I can just sing like that. Finished this discourse, he came down. He said, how was my discourse? We all said, yes, Swami, nice, obviously. And I definitely nodded my head to say, yes, Swami, very nice. And he smiled and he said, you know what I told about bhava and singing from the heart? That is for devotees who follow, not for you people who sing in the mic. Then he explained. No, he didn't stop with that. Then he explained. He said, he looked at the boy who had the mic next to him who was about to sing. He said, you sing in raga. He looked at the boy with the tabla. He said, you play in tala. Then they will get the bhava. And I will sit here and enjoy the bhava, raga and tala. And he said, Bharata is bhava, raga and tala. The whole meaning of India is just that. Combination of melody, rhythm and meaning, lyrics. So, when you sing in raga, when somebody plays in tala, when there is beauty in music, the emotion is evoked. So when I'm sitting here, my job is to do seva. And then he said, the person who's standing there looking after your footwear and chappals is doing the same duty as you. For me, there is no difference. You all might think you're close here and he's far away. For me, there is no difference. He's doing a duty, you're doing it. Your duty is to sing. And when you sing, I don't want them to cry. I want them to evoke emotions. So one boy started, once he sang Saharadu, not Saharadu Bhavan, Aparada Kshama Karo Sai Prabhu, Anath Prabhu, Anath Bandhu Sai Prabhu, Aparada Kshama Karo Sai Prabhu, Sai Prabhu, that, oh, someone who takes care of orphans. Please forgive my sins. That's the meaning of that bhajan. Aparada Kshama Karo Sai Prabhu. So Baba listened to that bhajan, then he came to him the next morning. He said, you know what, you sang very well. Next time you sing this in the bathroom. He's a good singer. He's a very good singer. I won't mention names. It doesn't really matter. He said, you sing this in the bathroom. And this boy was very shocked. He just looked at Baba. He said, you make a mistake, you ask for forgiveness. You sing the bathroom, I will forgive you. But for your mistake, why everybody should ask for forgiveness? So he made an important point there. He made an important point there again. These are all the small talks he would give as he went by. He made an important. He said, don't come thinking I have to sing this bhajan today because I like it. Find out what is required. So when bhajans are going fast, okay, there's a half an hour bhajan session. The fifth and the sixth bhajan, somebody sings Shiva and Devi and going fast, and you will start in the middle some very slow dragging bhajan. The whole energy just drops. You don't know it, but you are causing a disservice to the people who are just waiting for the next bhajan and suddenly you drop it. Boom. The energy is dropped. But rather you continue. So for me, that started a saga of learning. I put myself to discipline. I said, I am going to learn to start on scale, or at least find, if I can start a new fixer scale and carry on. And so I learned about 6 or 8 bhajans, and that's all I sang for years together. I didn't dare do anything else because I knew when I would sing, Baba would close his eyes and he would go faster and faster. So my bhajans were like, Shivaya Namah Shiva Shivaya Namah Shiva Shivaya Namo Om Namah Shivaya. Or it would be Narayana Hari Nama Bhajore Narayana Veda Parayana Shivaya Namah Shiva Shivaya Namah Shiva. Baba would say, don't ask Daya Karo, Kripa Karo, just sing names. Let people lose in the name. See, Hanuman Chalisa is very powerful. Why? Because nowhere in the Hanuman Chalisa it says, Hanuman, give me this or give me that. It's about what Hanuman did. So you're losing yourself in the story of that. And when you're losing yourself in the story, that your mind is attracting that power of Hanuman, that courage of Hanuman, that faith of Hanuman, that is becoming your second nature. Right? So when we sing of Shiva, it's only Shiva, 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 Shiva. There's no time for you to ask, Shiva, help me with my lottery which I bought last week. Or Shiva, help me with my job. Or I'm going for a long vacation, just take out of my house, Devi. There's no time to think of that. You're just singing. You're lost now. And then when bhajan finishes, you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to ask. That's the beauty. My father would have a big list to ask Swami. But when he would go and sit in front of Baba, he would just start crying. Just tears would flow and he won't speak a word. And Swami says, Chudra, this is bhakti. He had so many things to ask, now he can't even speak. And then when we come out of the interview room, my mother will ask my father, why didn't you ask? He says, I don't know, I just lose everything, I just sit and cry. But that is devotion. So how do you awaken if I am given a job, or if I love all of us love our voices, we just love, look at me, I'm just non-stop talking. We just have this fascination for our voice, I don't know why, especially when it comes to bhajan singing, I just want to hear my voice in the speaker. Somehow I think if I am following, Baba is not listening to me. I have to sing a bhajan to be part of the bhajan. I don't have to, ideally. So as students, I would rather sit back and enjoy these other boys who would sing. I just love it. Because for me, at that moment, I'm sitting and thinking of God, let somebody sing, even if they sing 10 songs, as long as their voice can raise my consciousness and everybody's consciousness, it really doesn't matter at that point. So if we do, and there's no harm in wanting to sing, it's a great privilege. So if we do, then pick up the simple ones, which according to our standard and our capability is possible. Sit with somebody who you believe is selfless, who's not out to attack you or somehow keep you down so that he or she can sing better bhajans. You should have faith in that. Go to them and say, can you help me choose some bhajans which you think will suit my voice? And then sit with them and plan out 3 or 4 bhajans and learn that. And with once a week that you all sing, you learn 4 bhajans. So Second time you come to one, it will be the next month. Nobody is going to remember what bhajan you sang. Nobody remembers what bhajan anyone sang last week. So they're not going to remember. So you learn 4 bhajans and again sing it till you feel comforted. And then you say, alright, can I learn one more? Once in a while I want to drop in one more bhajan. So pick up some more. Slowly your confidence will improve. Then you begin to enjoy, and then your enjoyment becomes the energy that carries through. But if you're nervous and you're unsure and you're doing squeaky voices, that is creating a wrong energy. And what happens is, instead of bhajans becoming wonderfully elevating, it becomes a kind of a cacophony. That is why in music we have to be careful. If it is just chanting, just 2 notes up and down, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Om Namaste Rudramanyo Daishave Namaha, it just goes up and down, just 2 notes. It's easier to learn, except the Sanskrit part of it. But in bhajans, pick up simple bhajans. And so let's end with one bhajan. But think of these as it's a beautiful center. And this is a center that, just like Baba, never compromised on his singing. And he kept on and on and on, and the quality of singing, it drew attention. You know, if bhajan singing today India has reached a standard, it's only because of Sai bhajans. Only because of Sai bhajans. Everybody wants to copy Sai bhajans. Everybody wants to sing like Sai Baba devotees, because there is a standard that Sundaram bhajan singers in Chennai, the Sai students have left a standard now, reached the standard. So that kind of standard, every center should aim to do. That's what I struggle in Trinidad to tell people. And slowly, so we offer now monthly 2 Saturdays, every alternate Saturday we offer a workshop. Come, learn, let's talk about it, let's learn a couple of bhajans and go. And if there are 2 people there, I will teach 2 people. I don't care. I have to, rather than sit and complain about why people are not doing, I will open the doors at least. Start with 2 people. That 2 will become 5, and that 5 will become 10. You never know, in about 5 years' time, if 50 people here can be singing those bhajans, that will be amazing. So make an effort. Open the doors and say, alright, let's learn a few bhajans. What are your bhajans you want to pick up today? Can we learn that? So pick up a few every week, stay back 10 minutes after a bhajan or 15 minutes after a bhajan. Start with very small steps. Learn bhajans. And then you will learn to really be part of this grand movement of, then you become a sevak. You come here, do seva. You feel offered, you feel privileged that somebody listening to my voice, I listening to my voice, we feel the energy uplifted. Okay? Thank you. Like I said, it's dangerous to give me a mic. It's 9:30. Let's end with a nice bhajan, invoking this divine energy of Sai. Shiva, 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 Shivaya Namo. 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 Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namo. Shivaya, Shivaya Namo. Om Namah Shivaya.
One more bhajan.
नारायण हरि नाम भजो रे नारायण वेद पारायणा नारायण हरि नाम भजो रे नारायण वेद पारायणा करुणा करना भय हरणा करुणा करना भय हरणा पावन करना नारायण हरि नाम भजो रे नारायण वेद पारायणा शांति शांति शांति
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you so much for that you take time and suggest that we show a short satsang, and we have enough, more than enough people that we anticipate to be here. But above all, it threw such a great light, to at least to me, if not all of you, is a very eloquent way of going from Dvaita to Advaita. And we need duality reach to unity, and there's no better way to explain it through real Swami's personal experiences, tie in the subject matter together in some simplistic way. The thing that's most complicated all of us understand, when you simplify like that in Swami's beautiful small sentences of love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never, and taking those concepts and simple personal experience would convert that into understanding what is Advaita and what's Dvaita and how to get there in a simplified manner. So I thank you, Mohan, and thank you for both of you coming down here and giving us a pleasure of a satsang. And especially some of us who are not going to silent retreat, we got a gist of what's going to happen there. Thank you so much, and thank you to Swami for making it possible. It's impromptu satsang. None of you know we're coming this evening, so cut loose your evening for whatever you had planned to be here, because Bhagavan wanted you to be here to listen to the divine inspirations. And thank you again. So, thank you. To Aarti now? Yeah. What do you mean?
सत्य साई बोले जय जय
birthday